What's going on, people? Give me a second. I feel like the world needs a reset. And the reason I feel like I speak on it because of my time in combat, because of, I guess the word is diversity. My time in the military, my battle buddies, I know a lot of different types of people. I like to talk about my time as my being from LA, but bouncing around the country and around the world in the military, the warlords and the bobcats and the hellhounds, these are white guys and Hispanics and Asians and Cubans and Filipinos. I've been blessed to know a lot of people. My spiritual leader, Chief Noble, was a Panamanian immigrant teaching in South Central LA. My father is from Brooklyn, New York. My mother is from Shreveport, Louisiana. But anyway, I feel like this pandemic is crazy, because where I'm from, I came home and I got mad at a lot of people because I told them some stuff about me and I feel like they weren't listening. But going through the marriage and divorce, we were 35 years old. And I was like, look, y'all, I went around the country, around the world, military, combat, PTSD. It changes you. I'm not who you remember. And these people were treating me like they know me. They my friend. I love you. Even my own family. They would watch movies about combat, and veterans, they would come and they would treat me like they knew me. But behind the scenes, my real friends, my battle buddies, the guys that we were all going through similar problems. So we would talk to each other and I wouldn't snap. Like there were stories like Christopher Dorner and the DC Sniper and guys at the VA, like we understood, like, yeah, he snapped. He snapped. But he didn't snap. I would say things like, man, he needs somebody like Chief Noble. He needs somebody like Mom Noble. You need Bible study, spiritual warfare, boy. You don't snap. You get tired of telling people you love to shut up and listen, or if you trained to kill and you trained to die and you prepared to do both, which is what the military basically does. Dog tag, the little dog ID tag they give you is a toe tag. When I went through the military, and we go into relationships with this, believe it or not, because the woman you see on my YouTube page was on Facebook saying I was the worst thing since Trump. I went through a suicide attempt. I hadn't seen myself. Everyone who knows me personally knows that I looked this woman in her face. The last time I seen this woman was 4 years ago. She was standing with her father, the same man who had me pray with him to help him get back in touch with his daughter. Wasn't helping me get in touch with my son, but I had took the spiritual warfare class. Same woman she introduced me to. And I knew the enemy spirit realm, spiritual eclipse, the same concept. You know, I love this woman. This is the enemy. Got her this spirit of deception, doubt, disbelief. She stopped believing in me. Something on that end convinced her to stop believing in me, to start doubting me. She had been deceived in reference to me. But see, I lived with her. I had these questions after she went behind her back. I used to pray. There's some very telling questions that would come up in these Facebook threads amongst her friends. Nobody would say, did anybody call him? Did anybody go pray with him? What is he doing? We haven't seen him with his kids since you've been fucking with this nigga. I was looking, because I'm watching. We're not children anymore. I kept wondering why ain't nobody came to therapy with me. Why haven't anybody prayed? I'm the same gospel rap. I haven't changed. Ever since I came home, I've been looking for these people to come pray with me, come to therapy with me. Chief Noble called it practical application. He taught us some things in this church that I was looking for this woman to apply to me. See, I could talk about it now that she's gone. She's happy. Her new man with my kids. So now that we're in a pandemic and I'm praying to God, I haven't changed. I'm still the guy, the homeless veteran, wondering what's wrong in this world. Got to pay off debt just like everybody else. Got men with back child support, debt to society. But the government is honoring their commitment to me as a combat veteran, compensating me for post-traumatic stress. Every Veterans Day, these same people say support your troops. Happy Veterans Day. And I got to tell you the truth. I got moments with this same woman that nobody else got that I got to keep to myself because it might totally crush this same dude that she propping up. Who's the one left alone with God? I think I'm just like a lot of people out here in YouTube land. This is why I believe sometimes many are called her. That First Lady, Dr. Jean Noble, y'all would have to go follow for yourselves the CFCIC International YouTube channel and search for this man, Alfredo Noble, Jean Noble. If you're in South Central LA, me and this same woman told y'all to come to this church. I don't know why she don't pump it no more. It gets little to no views. But this woman laid hands on me. But a pandemic hit and Anna Grant died. That's the one woman in my whole life that ever prayed for her son. I still got her letters. It's Mama Ann's cooking, y'all. That's why I'm like, what am I supposed to do with everything that God said about me now that the woman is gone and the world is talking about relationships and marriage? And truth be told, I got a lot of confidence in myself as a husband. So here's where I go with relationships. This is what the lyricist James Frazier feels about relationships. In sickness and in health, richer or poorer, for better or worse, till death do us part. Everything else about relationships is about you ladies. And that breaks my heart. I was married for 7 years. I had what I looked at in my life was the most successful marriage, and I'm still so proud of it. And I never got my favorite meal home cooked for me, not once. And I'm happy as hell that she's gone because I never had to betray God, and I made my Mama Ann proud. My Mama Ann is so happy in heaven that I did it the right way, and my 4 babies are not bastard children like all these other babies we see. I finally got it right. So if I would say anything to YouTube land, it would be to introduce myself. The people that say they knew me don't know me at all. And the more I tried to introduce myself, the more they misconstrued and came up with their own perception. So if I'm going to introduce myself to YouTube land, I would say I'm just James Frazier. I'm not the lyricist Jay Frazier. That's the gospel rap identity that was given to me in the church. I went to combat at 29 years old because I was homeless and I was not deemed worthy by my family. I met a recruiter named Kenneth Kinney after being in child support debt. That is now back child support debt that I pay off when I can because I am on a fixed income that I can now work on to take care of myself and pay off that very same debt. Just a regular guy. The government knows I exist, and they send me letters about it. Alienated from the children that I don't get along with my exes, the very women that I love, that I have no problem with, and I think love me back, but they've moved on. That's my thing about relationships. But we're grown and we have children now. So let's all get a clean slate. And I don't know about forgiveness, because I think some of us, myself probably at the top of the list, probably flawed. That's why I go to therapy and stay to myself. I stay to myself and try to remember that it's about the kids. And I'm not the best one to speak on relationships, because all I want out the deal is a wife to make my mama Ann proud. In reference to business, I struggle because I think no one can do it alone. And in these days and times, everyone goes for themselves, and I get my heart broke a lot. I put a lot of money out. The debt piles up. The government don't go for it. I don't want to go to jail to go into debt. And then the people leave, and I end up alone again, because the people, the closest ones to you are the ones that are lying. Y'all see what happens in the world. I'm just not exempt. So business and entrepreneurship, the obstacles become harder, and then I start to try to look for the people that I can trust. That tends to be hardest with the post-traumatic stress from the combat, the obstacles of life, and then let's not forget there's a pandemic. So for me, I don't know that I have any choice but to lean on God now more than ever, which brings me back to my mama Ann. She went home to live with the Lord last year, and turns out, as I found out in my life, I don't know that many people really believe in Jesus Christ for real. And that was a big thing for me in my marriage. And turns out my sins, my mistakes, and what's wrong with me was more important than fixing things, and my wife's beauty, and my dick. Even after I was gone, a lot of stuff I didn't understand. So I don't know YouTube, but in my personal life, it was confusion. And I think going forward, if I go to YouTube, I don't know if I want to pump anything other than positivity. Because in my own personal life, the stuff that was going on sent me to more therapy. So mental health awareness, please really be mindful that some of the things you say could trigger people. And that's why they may seem crazy, because you might have just triggered that person. Me personally, I was blessed to have a pastor and a first lady that just taught me about the Bible, how to discern the Bible. And then my grandmama raised me in the church. And a lot of people said they loved me when I came home from the war, and then after divorce, and then not being separation, that separation anxiety, and a suicide attempt in 2017. And then what the woman I love the most said about me. Not so much the friends, because I know trifling bitches, jealous bitches, and fuck niggas. It was really what the woman I love the most said, and then how she embarrassed herself with who she replaced me with. That rebirthed me. So I come with that with a word of encouragement and say, introduce myself. And since relationships are the topic, I start with that. For richer or poor, better or worse, in sickness and in health, till death do us part. And then everything else is for the woman. But in reference to myself, until this is bad, something is here, everybody else is just a friend. Bless you, YouTube. Now let's go forward. What you guys want to see, put it in the comments. I accept constructive criticism. Criticism, I just think you're bored. Much love.